Hello everyone, back into our third video doing Ensembles Watch for our third video on this Sunday evening. So we're going to go through all 20 plus members of the GFS Ensembles, including the operational run, the control run, and all of the other ensemble members as well. We're going to see what they're all showing moving into the second half of January, and I'll get on that for you very shortly. First Ensembles Watch, of course, of the winter of 2019-2020, a little bit late starting them this winter. So, going out for you very short. Let's just say the first video up today was the first analogs update for the spring. First spring 2020 analogs update. So that's a pretty interesting watch. I think I'm a little bit late getting that onto its own page at gazlovids.com, so I might not get that up until tomorrow. That could be tomorrow. Just watch your space on that one. But the video is on the homepage at Gazlovids. So when I placed on the spring updates page with written summary, that may be later today or it may be tomorrow. Also, Gazlovids Sunday Roundup has been released today as well. That's the first one since the end of August. So, quite interesting videos today. Hope you're enjoying all of the content. Right, let's have a bit of fun then with Ensembles Watch. So we're going to start off with the GFS midday operational run. So this is what it's showing. We're assuming, I think, that the next week is going to be largely unsettled and relatively mild. So we're going to begin this on the 13th of January, which is a week tomorrow, Monday 13th of January. Looks unsettled still. Low pressure is out in the Atlantic, bringing wet and windy weather in from the west. Moving up towards day 10, we turn quite stormy, especially so in the northwestern part of the country. Wet and windy up there with risk of gale force winds in places. Then moving towards the 17th of January, the operational GFS run starts to build the heights a little bit to the south. Looks like it's trying to go a bit drier. Very mild at that point as well, but the next low is coming in off the Atlantic. In the very extended range with the GFS operational run, we start to raise pressure over Scandinavia. So we're building a Scandinavian high and trying to turn things colder. Let's have a look at the upper air temperatures there for the 21st of January. So it is turning a bit colder across eastern parts of Europe and northeastern Europe as well. So Scandinavian high is beginning to try and get going on the 21st of January on tonight's operational GFS midday run. Bear in mind that that's a very long way out. That is 384 hours away. Let's see what the ensembles are doing then. So moving over to weathercentral.d itself, this is the control GFS run. So this run is a run at a slightly lower resolution compared to the operational run, but a higher resolution compared to all other ensemble members. We're starting off on the 12th of January, looking quite unsettled, bringing in those westerly winds. That's a week today, of course. Moving up towards the 14th, so again looking quite stormy with the GFS control run. Does look as though we could get a spell of gale force winds sometime around day 10, 14th through to the 15th of January. There's those southerly winds with higher pressure building through Central Europe around the 17th, turning very mild then. Is this GFS control run going to build a Scandinavian high? No, it isn't. It doesn't look like it will. It has high pressure taking over, centred across central parts of Europe. That could be turning drier and frosty for England and Wales, still quite mild in the north. Right, ensemble member number 1 looks like this in a week's time. So rather wet and windy in the north, high pressure down in the south. Let's see what happens, and it turns increasingly unsettled here as we're moving up towards around the 14th or so of January. And then higher pressure is starting to build both over to the south and to the east of the country. It's having a go at turning a bit drier. Next low pressure rolls in over top. This is going to keep things pretty westerly, I would have thought, right way through to the end of this ensemble member, which gets us to the 21st of January. So nothing particularly cold doing that, although a little bit cooler for the far north of Scotland. Ensemble member number 2, looking quite wet and windy on Sunday, a week today. High pressure to the south, low pressure is to the north. Then we start to reach the high pressure there as we're moving up towards day 10 across central parts of Europe. And it's having a go ridging up towards Scandinavia. Will there be any sort of Scandinavian high coming out of this? Well, it's certainly having a go, isn't it, at raising the heights to the northeast. Doesn't quite get there before it starts to be flattened off by the polar vortex and the low pressure around Greenland. That's always going to be the problem with building a Scandinavian high at the moment, just so active with the polar vortex. So ensemble member number 2 has a go at building high pressure in Scandinavia, doesn't quite get there. Ensemble member number 3 looks like that in a week's time, rather unsettled with low pressure in control. What's going to become of this ensemble member when it raises heights to the south and southeast there. Still very mild up to like the 17th of January. High pressure though increasingly dominating, probably bringing some frost to England and Wales, and then we go back into those mild westerlies. Nothing particularly cold doing with that one. Ensemble member number 4 looking very unsettled in a week's time with low pressure in control. Very stormy there around the 13th of January with this ensemble member, and we keep these stormy conditions going up to the middle part of the month. Then some higher pressure begins to build across Central Europe, and it is having a go again at getting itself up towards Scandinavia. Is it going to generate a successful Scandinavian high? Not quite. That's how we finish up on 21st of January. Higher pressure taking over, increasing risk of frost at that point, I would have thought. No particularly cold east winds though. Ensemble member number 5 is unsettled in a week's time. Let's go through and see what number 5 does. So looking quite stormy there around the 15th, and a little bit of warm air advection is trying to build up some higher pressure over Scandinavia as well. So running through into the more extended range of ensemble member number 5. This one is generating a Scandinavian high centred over southern Scandinavia. So this one is rather colder and drier and frostier. Winds are coming from an east to southeasterly direction. It's not Siberian cold. There won't be any snow involved with that, but it certainly is drier and frostier there as we're going into the 3rd week of January. Ensemble member number 6, again looking unsettled in a week's time, and then quite stormy sometime around the 14th of January. Excuse me, and we move on into the extended range with ensemble member number 6, and it's very stormy there on the 16th of January. And we just keep these westerly, southwesterlies going right the way through to the end of that ensemble member number 6, which is on the 21st of January as far as we go. And we're still mild and westerly with that one. Ensemble member number 7 is unsettled in a week's time. Let's carry on and see what this one is going to do. So also hinting at some perhaps quite stormy conditions sometime around the 14th or the 15th of January. Then higher pressure beginning to build to the south. Doesn't look like this one's going to do anything cold particularly. Actually, this one is quite mild through most parts of the country with high pressure centred across France, Spain and Portugal. And we're dragging up along that southwesterly. That turns dry but stays very mild with ensemble member number 7. Ensemble member number 8 is unsettled as we go through into the middle part of the month. Turns quite stormy there the 14th of January. This is showing up a lot with many of these ensemble members, and the operational runs to some sort of stormy weather likely around the 14th of January. Then we go into extended range with number 8, and we keep unsettled conditions going. Notice higher pressure towards Scandinavia. This one is not going to be able to generate a Scandinavian high, though the Atlantic is just too powerful. That's a bit of an Atlantic onslaught type ensemble member. Number 9 looks like that, so unsettled in a week's time, and then turning stormy sometime around the 14th to the 15th of January. Deep low pressure coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. Heading into the extended range with number 9 staying very mild and unsettled. The Atlantic onslaught continues right way up to 21st of January with that one. Ensemble member number 10, we're halfway through, shows not quite as unsettled conditions next Sunday, but still Atlantic driven weather. Then there's that stormy system sometime around the 14th again. Could be severe gales and bouts of heavy rain sometime around the middle part of the month. Moving into extended range, number 10 starts to generate high pressure very close to the country, so that's a little bit drier and colder. That will probably bring some frost, maybe some fog as well. That one does get us a bit colder from frost and fog, but not, again, I have to add, snow or Siberian or Arctic winds. Ensemble member number 11, again, we're in a very mild southwesterly there in a week's time. Let's see if we can run through. See what it does. So again, around the 14th, we've got the suggestion of some proper wet and windy, maybe quite stormy weather there. Moving into more extended range with number 11, high pressure then building up from the south, so relatively mild with that high. But as it becomes, it is trying to have a go again towards Scandinavia. As it pushes further northwards, it might start to turn a bit cooler, but still generally quite mild and unsettled with that one up to 21st of January. Ensemble member number 12, again looking unsettled over the weekend, next weekend, then high pressure building very, very close to the east and southeast of the country. It's having a go to get towards Scandinavia as well. So this one does definitely have higher pressure taking over, probably bringing quite a lot of frost with it. Now this one is doing something quite interesting, and it's the first one that we've seen. Number 12 is getting the high pressure a lot further north and actually bringing in a proper easterly there on the 18th of January. I don't think the upper air temperatures are all that cold, but certainly that's a proper easterly. Will probably bring snow showers, particularly to southern and eastern parts of the country. And of course, once we get into this blocking situation, we maintain it, so it stays cold with this one right way up to the 21st of January. That's the coldest ensemble member that we've seen so far. And then we've got number 13, ensemble member number 13, again mild and westerly next weekend, or certainly westerly next weekend, probably stormy around the 14th of January sometime around then, and then the high pressure beginning to build across central and eastern parts of Europe, having a go at raising some heights close to the country, and having a go at ridging it northwards as well. What does this one do in the end? So this one's hinting at raising some heights around Greenland and Iceland. Still unsettled and relatively mild up to the end of this particular GFS run on the 21st of January, but it is having a go at raising some pressure across Greenland. Ensemble member number 14, again this one is unsettled for next weekend. Suggestion maybe of some stormy weather out to the west around the middle part of the month. Then heights begin to rise over the country, so this one's turning us drier and probably frosty. Does look as though there is a suggestion through the third week of January that high pressure will become more influential again, and possibly being centrally located over the country, it might get a bit colder and frostier from that ridge. Of course, if it's centred over to our south, over the Alps or southern parts of France, then we will stay very mild. If it gets to Scandinavia, it will become a lot colder. That's ensemble member number 15, so this one, again, suggestion of some quite stormy weather perhaps around the 14th, 15th of January. Winds in from the southwest there as we're moving towards the extended range. This isn't going to do anything cold at all. This is just going to keep the Atlantic weather going right way through to the end of it, mild, wet and windy up to 21st of January. We're ensemble member number 15. Ensemble member number 16, again westerly and showery on Sunday next week. Stormy sometime around the middle part of the month as well. Details to be determined, but could be very stormy episode around the middle part of January. And then moving into the extended range, again it's trying to reach a high pressure further northwards. We're still mild generally up to this point, but it is having a go at lifting the high pressure up towards Scandinavia. Ensemble member number 17, westerly and showery on Sunday, and then as we go into beyond day 10, so a little bit stormy there around middle part of the month, and then beyond day 10, second half of the month, this one keeps us mild, has high pressure building up from the south. See the difference with that one, the high pressure centred over northern France, so that will keep all of us generally on the mild side. Ensemble member number 18, westerly and showery there, as then perhaps stormy sometime around the 14th to the 15th, a little bit colder as well around the 15th too. Then high pressure begins to get more involved. It's having a go at reaching northwards, but it is struggling to get any way north. We finish up looking like that, high pressure just out to our west-southwest. That's generally quite mild, but a little bit dry through the third week of January. Ensemble member number 19 is unsettled and maybe a little bit stormy around the middle part of the month, so still that suggestion of some gale force winds sometime around mid-January. Then the high pressure begins to build up from the south, turns drier. The high pressure this time is centred more or less over top of the country with more of a continental feed, so that would be probably inversion type cold, could be some frost coming through with that one. That's how we finish up high pressure right over top of the country, so mainly dry but cold and frosty. And then finally ensemble member number 20, looks like that, unsettled and quite chilly next weekend, next Sunday. Then let's see what it does. It starts to build up some higher pressure to our south. Not as stormy around the middle part of the month with ensemble member number 20. High pressure building to the south of us. It's not going to get itself anywhere particularly cold though, so just finishes up to centred over northern France and the Low Countries. That keeps us generally quite mild with ensemble member number 20. So other than ensemble member number 12, which did go genuinely cold with easy winds, let's just have a quick look at that one before we go again, shall we? So it's ensemble member number 12. That's how we develop with ensemble member number 20. You see the difference. It gets a high pressure so much further north and is able to pull in those easterly winds. If you have a look at the upper air temperatures with that, see how cold those easterly winds get. Let's see what happens with those upper air temperatures. So it's not particularly cold easterly, at least not initially. But we do actually start to bring the minus 10 Celsius isotherm in from the east there around the 18th, 19th of January. So certainly cold enough for snow with those easy winds with ensemble member number 12 after the middle of January. However, quite clearly that's a synoptic outlier. There's no other ensemble member doing what that one is doing. Quite a few of them are trying to push a high pressure north in the second half of the month and get it towards Scandinavia, but a lot of them struggle with that. Either the high gets stuck somewhere around the UK, some of the ensemble members keep it over France, that keeps us very mild. One or two of them do get it up to Scandinavia, but then it collapses. So we've only got that one that's going for genuinely cold weather. Otherwise, it looks like up to the middle part of January, it's mild, quite stormy. And then I think the third week of January probably turns drier. And it will be a case, as we've been saying in the videos over the past few days, of exactly where that high pressure is going. Will it get to Scandinavia? If it does, will it be able to stick there long enough to get wind into the east? All be revealed in the coming days. Alright, that's it for Ensembles Watch. Don't forget to check out Gaz's Sunny Roundup and also the first spring update. As I say, I'm not sure if I'll get the spring updates page done today. If it's not today, will definitely be tomorrow. Right, that's all for now though, and thanks for watching.